So we had a bit of a Lord of the Rings announcement over the last few days. No, it's not Rings of Power being cancelled or anything like that. All the announcement is a release date for that Hunt for Gollum movie that Warner Brothers is making. So Amazon has their Rings of Power show, which is another abomination. Warner Brothers had their War of the Rohirrim anime movie that came out last December. And now there's going to be this Hunt for Gollum movie, which apparently is going to be out in December of 2027. So that's what, 2.5 years from now? Yeah, it's May of 2025 currently, so 2.5 years. Now, if you just want my quick opinion on this, I got a couple things I'd want to say here. Number one, I'm going to show you this headline. It's from Bounding Into Comics. This is from September 8, 2023. The headline reads, David Zaslav reiterates his plan to focus on big franchises like DC, Harry Potter, and Lord of the Rings, says they have been underused. Or if you want a translation for that, they're going to be taking Lord of the Rings and they're going to be milking it for as much money as possible. Do I like that? No. Now Warner Brothers, they are going to be milking, Harry Potter and DC. They got a Harry Potter show coming out on HBO. But the difference with that is that J.K. Rowling is still alive. She signed off on the show. If she wants to make a Harry Potter show, go right ahead. Now with that being said, that show's in some controversy now because they made casting announcements and looks like Severus Snape is being race swapped and Harry Potter fans are not happy about that. They said the show would be very closely following the books and they're already breaking that promise. But anyway, this video is about Lord of the Rings. Back to Lord of the Rings. Here's the official announcement. The Hunt for Gollum is set for a pre-Christmas 2027 release. My very short opinion on this, I do not want any Lord of the Rings adaptations right now. None. Number one, this movie is going to be about the Hunt for Gollum, apparently. I mean, the title of the project is called exactly that, The Hunt for Gollum, which I assume will be about Gandalf and Aragorn looking for Gollum during the years where Frodo has the ring after Bilbo left, and this is before Sauron sent the ring wraiths to go searching for Frodo and the ring. This whole Hunt for Gollum in the books, I think it's just casually mentioned as I remember. I'm not sure you really have enough material for a full movie here. We go back to what David Zaslav said. Franchises like Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings are underused. There's no reason for this movie to be made other than because the studio wants money. That's it. If Tolkien were alive today, do you think he'd be okay with his stories being milked for profit? I mean, I don't know Tolkien personally. He died before I was born, but if I was to take a wild guess, I'm going to say no. As I said, I do not want any adaptations of Tolkien's work. Zero. Now, are there a lot of great stories in Middle-earth? Yes. You read the Silmarillion. Beren and Lúthien's a great story. I mean, it's not a completed story. There's really two forms of it. There's a short story for Beren and Lúthien, and then there's a long poem. But Beren and Lúthien would be a great story. The Children of Húrin, that story I'd say is a masterpiece, a tragic masterpiece. Fall of Gondolin, that'd be a good one too. Arendelle and Elwing, The War of Wrath. I mean, there's a lot of great stories where I look and I'd say, sure, I'd be interested in seeing them as movies. However, I do not want any adaptations of Tolkien's work. Not from the current movie and television business. Now, Peter Jackson, he is directing this movie. He directed the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Looking at those movies by themselves, yeah, they were great movies. Maybe the best trilogy ever made. Best movie trilogy. I mean, the original Star Wars trilogy could argue. But Lord of the Rings movies, they're up there. Now, how faithful were they to the Lord of the Rings books? Yes, there were changes. There was a lot of stuff cut out. You don't have Tom Bombadil, you don't have the Barrow-wights, the Old Forest, and there's plenty of other stuff that they cut out. But when Peter Jackson was working on the Lord of the Rings movies some, 30 years or so ago now, Peter Jackson at least tried to make a respectful adaptation of Lord of the Rings. Peter Jackson and company did not inject their own personal messages into Tolkien's stories. They didn't inject their own personal activism into it. He at least tried to be respectful. The people in the industry today, the people at Amazon working on Rings of Power, the people who adapted the story of Helm Hammerhand into anime, they had no intention of being respectful to Tolkien's works. They had no intention of being faithful to Tolkien's works. Their priority was taking Tolkien's works, taking somebody else's work that they did not write, and then shoving their own messages, their own activism, their own ideology into it, updating it for modern audiences, so to speak, turning Tolkien's work into a platform, I mean, Rings of Power was a complete utter disgrace, and that show's still going on. The War of the Rohirrim movie, it was supposed to be about the story of Helm Hammerhand, and instead, they decided to make it about his unnamed daughter, and they decided to girl boss the story. The act of taking somebody else's work, in this case Tolkien's work, and shoving your messages, your ideology, your activism into it, is completely and utterly disrespectful to that original author. That's what Amazon has done. That's what Warner Brothers has done with War of the Rohirrim. Look, if you want girl bosses in stories, if you want stories to reflect the world we live in today, you can write your own. You can write your own story and you can do whatever you want in it, since it's your story. Lord of the Rings is not your story, it's not my story, it's Tolkien's story. Since you did not write Lord of the Rings, you do not have the right to fundamentally change it. And the act of taking somebody else's work and shoving your activism into it, it's disrespectful to that author, it's disgusting, and it's unforgivable. And that's the biggest reason why I say I do not want any Lord of the Rings adaptations right now. Not with the way the industry is at the moment. Yes, Peter Jackson's directing the movie, but he's directing it in a much different environment now than 30 years ago. Based on what we've seen with War of the Rohirrim and with Rings of Power, I don't see any reason to trust that they're going to show any respect to Tolkien with this upcoming movie. Frankly, this is just a small subplot. Something that gets just a little mentioning in the Fellowship of the Ring. Something that they're going to try and stretch into a full movie. I mean, this is just Warner Brothers scraping the bottom of the barrel for money. I mean, that's all this is. And all the people in the industry, I mean, you know they're going to put their messages into it. So I guess this movie's 2.5 years away. That's not for a while. We won't get a first look at this movie for, I don't know, 1.5 years, 2 years or something like that. But honestly, I don't think I care that much. I don't see any point in making this movie. I mean, I think I know why Warner Brothers is doing it. They want money, but other than that, I'd see no point in it. And frankly, I don't want any more Lord of the Rings movies. Not with how much respect, or more accurately, how little respect the industry is showing to any story that they adapt. Nope, I don't want any more Lord of the Rings movies or shows. I don't want any more Tolkien adaptations. Bye everyone.